If you are a TPT seller, chances are you want to make more sales, right? So one good way to make more sales in your TPT store is to have more traffic. So traffic is just driving people to your resources, driving people to your store so that people actually have eyes on what you're selling. In order to drive more traffic, there's a lot of different things you can do, but today specifically, we're gonna be talking about how you can use Pinterest to get more traffic to your TPT store. Now, in my store, Becca's Music Room on Teachers Pay Teachers, I have most of my traffic coming from Pinterest. It's always TPT number 1, and then number 2 and number 3 alternate between my blog and Pinterest. Although most of the traffic to my blog also comes from Pinterest, so I feel like indirectly both of those actually come from Pinterest. Today we're gonna talk about specifically what Pinterest is, why you would want to use it, and also how to use it. Now, we will not be having a making a pin tutorial because that's gonna be in a separate video because it's a lot of stuff. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that and hit the subscribe button if you are interested in that. Which I assume you are, because when I posted on my Instagram and I asked people, hey, what do you guys want to see this month for videos? Everyone except one person answered with Pinterest. And I didn't even like give options. I was just like, hey, what do you want to see? And it was like Pinterest, 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 Pinterest. And I was like, okay, I get the hint. So today we're gonna talk about Pinterest. First of all, what is Pinterest? Pinterest is not a social media. People are always like, oh yeah, it's a social media. It's not a social media. It is like a search engine that allows you to save things, if that makes sense. So Pinterest is designed to be like an online bulletin board. So what you do is you find different articles and websites and videos and things like that, and you can pin them to your board. So you have different boards in your profile and you can pin them so you can save them for later. This makes Pinterest amazing because 1, it is run on SEO, which is search engine optimization, which means that anyone can do well on Pinterest. And 2, people can save things and come back to them later. And 3, Pinterest lasts so long. So when you pin something, it continues to gain more and more traction as time goes on, because if you pin it to one board and then someone else pins it to another board and then someone who follows that person pins it to another board, it will keep going. I was actually looking just this morning, some of my most profitable pins are some of my like earliest pins, which is a little sad because I'm like, ooh, that looks gross, but they're still doing well today, even though I made them years ago. So getting on Pinterest is a really helpful way to drive traffic to your Teachers Pay Teachers store. You have never heard of Pinterest before. Again, it's a search engine where you can save things. So a couple things you need to know, words that you need to know really. A pin is the picture that pops up on the feed and is usually linked to a website. It doesn't have to be, but most of them are. So a pin is basically a picture you can click on or you can save. A board is what you save things to. So on your profile, you will have boards and you can save them to separate boards. You can make as many boards as you want and you can pin them all differently. And it's a really great way to kind of organize things so that you can find them easily later. You can also make sections within boards. So for example, I have a rhythm board, and in my rhythm board, when you click on rhythm, there's different sections that pop up, but they're like mini boards. And there's like, you know, level 1 rhythms, which are like quarter notes, level 2 rhythms, which are like half notes and things like that. So those are kind of the main things that you need to know about Pinterest, is that it is run on SEO. You can pin pins to boards, which I've been using Pinterest forever, so this is really normal to me. But as I'm saying these words, I'm like, if you don't know what Pinterest is, this probably sounds like craziness. But it's not, I promise. Now we're gonna go through how to get more traffic to your resources using Pinterest. So if you have never used Pinterest before, here's kind of the strategy that happens. First of all, you're gonna make a pin. We'll talk about making pins more in another video. Like I said, we're gonna have a whole Pinterest tutorial. So keep your eyes peeled for that and hit that subscribe button and make sure you turn on the notifications so you know when it comes out. But what you need to know about pins are that they are pictures, first of all, so they're graphics, and that you want them to be long ways so that they take up more space on Pinterest's home feed. So make it vertical, make it long ways. You want it to be eye-catching, so you want it to be pretty, you want it to be colorful so that it kind of pops so that people will be interested in clicking on it. It also really helps if you have words on it that tell exactly what it is and will kind of help stop people's scroll as they're scrolling through. If this is a TPT product, then it helps to have a picture of your actual product on the pin, because if people can see it, they're going to be more interested and they're going to want to purchase it even more. Now, caveat, you can now make video pins, which Pinterest loves, by the way. And so these are just video files that you upload to Pinterest. And if you're interested to know more about video pins, then leave me a comment down below and let me know that, and we can do a video all about video pins and how I make those and how those do. Because I will say that video pins get way more love than regular pins do. With your pins, also, last thing I'm gonna say, make sure they're pretty, but also make sure they're branded. So you hopefully have a kind of brand aesthetic going on, whether that's the colors you picked, the fonts you picked, or just the vibe you're going for. But you wanna make sure it's branded so that people know that it comes from you. And I like to put my logo or maybe my name down at the bottom so that if people aren't sure that it comes from me, when they see that, then they will know. Now, after you make your pin and you go to put it on Pinterest, all you gotta do is click like the little plus button, and you're going to add a couple of things. You're gonna add a title and you're gonna add a description. Now, when it comes to your title and your description, this is not the same description you're putting into TPT. The title can be the same or very similar, but your description, you want to be very keyword rich. So keywords are things that people are looking for. So like, what would people be typing into Pinterest for? You don't want to have just one keyword, you kind of want to have a lot. So for example, if I was making a pin for, let's say, my 12 Days of Christmas resource, because that one does really well, so it's kind of top of my mind. If I was making a pin for my 12 Days of Christmas resource, I want to make sure that in my pin description, it says the 12 Days of Christmas. It probably says Christmas Carol. It might say holiday music lessons, or elementary music lessons, or elementary music Christmas lessons, or all of those things in there. I'm also gonna probably wanna put the grade level, because people might be searching for like 4th grade music lessons for Christmas, or 4th grade Christmas music lessons, and those kind of things. Now, with this, you don't just wanna be like 12 Days of Christmas, music lesson, elementary music lesson, music lessons for Christmas. No, you want to make them in sentences so that they flow, so that people read them and are like, oh, okay, I understand what that is. But as you're writing, you definitely want to make sure that you hit those keywords. I actually like to use Pinterest to figure out what my keywords should be. So if you're like, I don't know what people are searching, type in what you think they're searching and see what pops up. So I might type in like Christmas music lessons, and then it'll auto-populate with different ideas for what might work. So those are things that you can write down so that you can be sure to add them into your description if you have space. You don't have a ton of space in Pinterest description, so do have a heads up on that. Use as much of the Pinterest description area that you have, because the more keywords you can get in there, the more chances you have to be found. Do not keyword stuff, which means don't use the same keyword over and over and over again. Just use it once, twice if you have to, but it's better to find kind of synonyms like Christmas music lesson and then like elementary music Christmas lesson, because they're a little bit different and people might be searching for those things, but Pinterest is not gonna think that I'm just being like, elementary music lesson, elementary music lesson, elementary music lesson. They don't want that. They want you to have kind of a variety and talk like a normal human. So do be aware of that. Pinterest does not like it if you use the keyword too many times. Once you have your pin and you have your description and your title, also a link to your product or to your blog post or to your whatever you are making the pin for, then you want to put it on a board. So if you are doing Pinterest, you, first of all, if you're here for TPT, you want to have a business Pinterest account, which is free. You just have to go in your settings and switch it to that. I had like a personal account that I switched to a business account. It wasn't hard or difficult or anything like that. And so you want to have that, first of all, and with that, you're going to have boards. Now that you are a business and not just a person, you want to make sure those boards are really easy for your customers to navigate rather than you. So with your boards, you want to have things that are relevant to whatever you make products for. So I have an elementary music store. So my boards are things like rhythm lessons, music lessons, holiday music lessons, distance learning ideas, like things like that. So they're really easy to navigate. You want to pin your pin to as many boards as is relevant. That way, if people are looking just at rhythm lessons or just at Christmas lessons, they can still find the pin that you have pinned. Now with your boards, we are probably going to end up with an entire video talking all about how to make your Pinterest account branded, but the quick version is that you want to make sure you have your description of your boards also has keywords in it and things that are relevant. I honestly need to go back because I did this to some of them, but I need to like go back and do the rest. This is something that my Pinterest account could do a little better in, and something I'm going to be working on in the next few months, kind of trying to get my Pinterest account more branded and just looking better and having better descriptions, things like that. But people can find your boards when they are looking for things, if your boards are relevant and they have the right keywords and stuff like that. You also can pick your cover for your boards, so you want them to kind of look similar and look decent. I made my board covers on Canva. It's a free design service. I will leave it down below. This is where I make like all of the things, and you just upload it and then you just switch out the cover in the board settings. So if you're interested in a whole video on this, let me know down below how, if you want to be able to optimize your Pinterest profile, because y'all, it's a lot. And I talk really fast, but I don't talk that fast. Then after that, you can, if you want to, also pin your pin to group boards. Now, group boards, I recently heard someone was like, group boards are dead. I will tell you, group boards are not dead. I pin my things to group boards and they still do better. I can tell because I will maybe upload 2 pins at the same time, and I'll pin one of them to group boards one day and one to group boards another day. And the one that is already pinned to group boards will always have done better. So group boards are just literally boards that lots of people work on. You can find group boards by searching different people in your niche and different keywords, and then finding those boards and messaging the person who is in charge of those boards and asking them if you can join. Some of them have different rules and regulations for how to join and things like that. There's also some websites that have some helpful like lists of group boards. So I will link one of those that I used down below. Some of mine came from that, and then some of mine came from just messaging people. And then now I'm at the point where I've had some people message me asking me if I wanted to join, and sometimes I'm like, this has absolutely nothing to do with what I do, so no. But sometimes they're really useful. So I still find group boards very helpful, because when you pin to a group board, that means that everyone from those people's audiences can see it as well as your audience, so you just get more eyeballs on it, as long as it's in your niche and relevant to what you're pinning, of course. Now, we can go on and on and on and on and on about Pinterest, and there's going to be more videos, I promise. There's definitely going to be a video about how to make a pin and how to actually upload it. And if you are interested in videos about optimizing your profile or video pins or anything else you can possibly think of, let me know in the comments down below so that I know those are things you're interested in, so that I will then put them on my content calendar so that they will be able to come out in the future. That's how this video came about, again, because everyone was like, I want to know about Pinterest. I want to know about Pinterest. And I was like, okay, let's learn about Pinterest. You can also promote on Pinterest. So if you do want to run ads on Pinterest, you can do that. However, I'm going to caution you that you definitely want to make sure that you figure out how to work them first, so that you're not just throwing money at nothing. So definitely take some time, look for some videos on YouTube about how to promote on Pinterest and actually do it well, so that you actually get the most bang for your buck. But you really don't have to promote on Pinterest to do well on Pinterest, which is something that I love. You can do well on Pinterest organically, and your things continue to live for a really long time, which I just think is really awesome. Now, a couple of really quick tips for your Pinterest account before we gotta go. So a couple of really quick Pinterest tips for your account. One, in your name, you can put your name and also put a keyword. So you could put like Becca Davis, elementary music teacher, and that will help people to find you because you'll come up in search. You can also put a little description. Make sure you have keywords in there as well, because Pinterest is run on keywords. Another thing is that you want to be pinning consistently, and you do not have to just pin your content. So make sure that you are pinning maybe 10 to 20 pins every day. If that sounds overwhelming, just start with whatever you think you can. So maybe you can pin like 5 things. And I don't mean like making 5 and putting it on there. I mean like going on Pinterest and repinning 5 things that other people made, or making new pins is also good. But just go through and pin a couple of things each day so that you are getting traction and your content is getting out there. Number 3 is that you can have more than one pin to a product, and I highly recommend it. The more pins you have, the more likely you are to get seen, and also sometimes one pin will do better than the other just because of how it looks or how it shows up in search, or just because Pinterest randomly decided that this one is better than the other one. I don't know, but sometimes one is gonna do a little bit better than the other. All right, the next thing I wanted to say is that make sure that your boards on your profile are relevant. So if you teach elementary music, then they should all be elementary music or things that elementary music teachers are interested in. So I might have one about like music for my practicing, or sheet music ideas or things like that, but anything else is not on there. You can also hide boards you don't want people to see. So like I have boards where I pin recipes and I have them hidden so that other people don't see them, because that's not what people come to my profile for. They come to my profile for music tips and things like that. And so it's not helpful to have other things on there. And the last thing I want to say about Pinterest is that I do personally have Tailwind, which is an automatic Pinterest scheduler. And I have to say that it is life-changing. I really love it. It's very helpful. I will leave a link to it down below. It does cost money, but I did the math one day and figured out how much time it saved me and how much it cost me like per hour, and it was crazy how much time it saved me and how much money it made me for how much time it saved me. So highly recommend Tailwind. I think we're gonna have a video about that because I have gotten requests for that. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. I know that was a lot of information. Feel free to go back and watch the video over from the beginning. I hope this was helpful. If so, please hit that like button and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. Leave any comments, questions, and video requests down below in the comments, and I will see you guys next time. Have a wonderful week. Like weather, but use as much as words.